The Saints were not able to keep their momentum for the second game of the season. They fell to the Panthers 7-26, only scoring in the last quarter. Joining us with more on what happened is WWLTV.com sports columnist and host of the Saints Happy Hour podcast, Ralph Marlboro. And as much fun as it was to watch Jameis against Aaron Rodgers, it was not fun to watch him against Sam Darnold.
I'm sore, Eric. My neck. I got whiplash. I went from Super Bowl dreams to despair in less than 60 minutes. Listen, it turns out for NFL games, having coaches and
apparently
a full
matters.
Roster of healthy, it matters, right? It reminded me of, that movie Office Space where they have the guy Milton and nobody knows what he does and they don't know how much he makes and he's confused. It turns out the NFL isn't like that. All the people they have on the sideline are essential. And the Saints, they look like a team playing their first real road game in a year, because remember last year we didn't have fans. Yeah. And it just felt like, especially on offense, they had this sense of confusion and they couldn't fix things, where on defense during the game yesterday, you saw it. They had their full staff. The Carolina came out, looked good early, but the Saints sort of adjusted and figured it out. On offense, it looked like a fire drill for 60 minutes and they just never could get it figured out. And I bet assistant coaches would have helped them.
Well, and when did Sam Darnold get that good?
Well, let's pump the brakes on Sam Darnold. I feel like watching him be good was so frustrating in a way, because if the Saints, when they got pressure on him, he turned back into the Sam Darnold from the Jets. That's a disaster. But the Saints they couldn't do that in the first half. The one thing, though, I think you need to play the breaking news siren. I think Jameis Winston just got sacked again.
Well, and then there were the interceptions. We didn't see any in the game against the Packers, and all of a sudden it's sort of giving us reminiscence of his days with
Tampa.
With Tampa, yeah.
Well, the one thing I will say with the Saints is offensive line. Drew Brees used to do the protection, so that's something new that they have to work out. I think the offensive line will be fine. The one thing that concerns me going forward with the Saints is their receivers. Without Michael Thomas, I don't know if they're NFL quality. They had one guy, Little Jordan, he had one catch for 27 yards, but most of the time, Eric, Jameis was pumping that, holding on to that ball. Yeah. I think guys just aren't getting open. And the thing is, we were so used to 15 years of Drew Brees. It was like he had a hobo and a blocking tackle and an armchair at wide receiver, and he just made it work. And we got into this attitude, like, it doesn't matter who receiver is. Sean Payton will figure it out. No. They need to figure it out. They need better receivers, and I don't know that they have an answer.
And Jameis is a good quarterback. It's just hard to follow somebody who is a legend like Drew Brees.
Well, I think it's hard to follow a legend, and I think the thing with the Saints is they are not built to play from behind. And it seems strange because everybody was like, oh, Jameis, he's got a big arm now. They can go downfield, and Drew's gone. But the thing is, the Saints are built to be a team that plays from ahead. They're not like Kansas City or other teams where it's like, oh, it's 10-0, it's 14-3. It's fine, we'll come back. No. The Saints, they have to play from ahead. They have to stay on schedule. Like, third down and long for the Saints is basically a death sentence. Yeah. And they need to stay out of it. And they just didn't yesterday.
And hopefully things are back to normal next week when we take on the Patriots, because they're not all that great.
Hopefully. The one thing I did discover, there were a couple of positives from yesterday. One, I found a delicious caramel bourbon. It went well with Coke. I drank all day. It numbed the pain. That was good. Okay. And second of all, the defense, Eric, yesterday was really good, considering they were missing 5 starters. They had every reason to quit, and they just hung in there. They're going to be all right. We just need a coaching staff and healthy players.
So how much bourbon did you drink yesterday?
Like a fifth. You gotta
make up today.
I mean, I'm a warrior, Eric. I'm like you. Nothing stops me. My liver died 5 years ago.
Ain't that the truth? All right. Thanks, Ralph. The Saints will try and prove themselves again in their next matchup on Sunday. As we said, they take on the New England Patriots at Gillette Stadium. Kickoff is at noon.